Live from KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
3, 2, 1. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We always have this last second debate about who's going to say hello to you first. So we decided to do it as a team effort today.
Together.
Together. What's the old saying? Tomato, tomato?
Mm-hmm. Potato,
or
potato.
Potato, tomato, or tuna, tunado.
Tunado. That's a good one. Yeah.
There's a plant-based fish coming.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds ridiculous. Imagine how weird plant-based meat sounded, 10 or 15 years ago.
This is true, but apparently some people are convinced and actually maybe a little threatened by it. So in this article, it says when a tuna marketing executive took a bite of the dehydrated tomato seasoned with olive oil, algae extract, spices, and soy sauce early last year, he was shook. He said, "This is going to be a problem for us."
Mm-hmm. That's from Ida Spire. He's the co-founder and chief executive of Mimic Seafood, recalling it designated as the highest praise she could have imagined, or it's a she rather, praise for the delicate slice of tuna that contained no tuna at all. We're showing you snapshots from the Mimic Seafood Instagram page. But yeah, you heard right. This is some sort of fancy new dehydrated tomato that only comes out of Spain.
Yeah, so the Madrid-based startup's tuna Tunado.
Tomato, potato, potato.
Tuna Tunado product.
Tunado, yes.
Tunado product, fabricated from a specialty tomato variety grown in southern Spain that resembles sliced sushi grade, kind of like that picture you just saw, tuna, and in shape and size is part of a growing class of food innovations fighting for the last empty shelf in the booming plant-based protein market, seafood.
Seafood, yep.
That's seafood.
They said the potential market could be huge beyond vegans and flexitarians. Faux fish might also be a welcome addition to, say, pregnant women who are avoiding high mercury in fish, or maybe a consumer with a shellfish allergy. They also say that big corporations have taken notice. A number of companies are already investing in these alternatives, these plant-based alternatives, including Tunado. It should also be noted that they already started a slow rollout of this product, but they had to kind of shut things down during the pandemic. But they're planning on rolling it back out starting at some point this year. Again, the company is called Tunado. Mimic Seafood, appropriately named, based in Spain. Look for more of this in the coming years.
Yeah, I think it'll probably take off just like the meat.
Are you a sushi fan?
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah. Would you try this?
Sure.
Sure, why not?
Try.
All right.
This one I will. Let's look at today's 9 at 9. Dallas ISD Superintendent Michael Hinojosa is defying Governor Greg Abbott's anti-masking orders. The superintendent is mandating masks in all Dallas public schools, saying the decision is not personal between him and the governor. This is the first Texas school district to make such a decision.
Governor Greg Abbott asking Texas hospitals to delay non-essential medical procedures as COVID-19 patients strain hospital capacity. The governor also allowing medical professionals from out of state to help in Texas hospitals, a reversal to his previous decision in July.
Metro Health says 60% of San Antonio's Latino community is not vaccinated. A leading Latino health researcher says social media is to blame for vaccine hesitancy.
The Pentagon expected to ask for President Joe Biden's approval to make vaccinations mandatory for all active duty military personnel by mid-September. If the Food and Drug Administration gives full approval for the vaccines before that, the push for shots could come sooner.
Final votes on a historic $1 trillion infrastructure bill are expected in the Senate today. Some 70 senators appear to be ready to carry the bipartisan package to passage. Once the bill passes the Senate, it will move to the House, where a bipartisan group of lawmakers have already pledged to move forward.
Some good news regarding the Dixie Fire in California. All 31 people previously reported missing have been found safe. The final 4 were found late last night. The Dixie Fire continues to burn out of control, scorching nearly 500,000 acres so far.
Job openings in the U.S. hit a record high in June. According to the Labor Department, 10.1 million jobs were recorded, up by about 590,000. Hiring also rose to 6.7 million in June, but there are worries that the resurgence in COVID-19 could mean that some will put off returning to the workforce.
With college football set to kick off in less than a month, the USA Today coaches preseason poll will be released today. Alabama is expected to be number 1 with Oklahoma near the top. Clemson, Georgia, and Ohio State are expected to round out the top 5.
The Dallas Cowboys will be featured on the NFL training camp documentary Hard Knocks when it premieres on HBO tonight. The Cowboys are the first team to make 3 appearances. The series airs tonight at 9 on HBO, and that's today's 9 at 9.
Gotta remember to record that tonight for fun.
I think a lot of people will be watching America's team.
Outside right now, it's about 80 degrees at the airport, and Sarah Spivey is in the house. Good morning, Miss Spivey.
Good morning to you. Yeah, happy to be here. We've kind of entered the summer doldrums where the weather is fairly similar day to day, but there are a couple pluses to the weather outside. You know what? Actually, the aquifer is doing all right, even though it's down 7/10 of a foot. It's still almost 10 feet above the monthly average. We're nowhere close to that 10-day average of 660 that would initiate stage 1 water restrictions. So some good news there with the aquifer. And in the pollen count, not much change here. Unfortunately, molds are still high, past 1,000. But the good news is they haven't budged all that much from yesterday. Pigweed and elm are present in low amounts. I want to go ahead and take a look outside. You can see those puffy cumulus clouds out there starting to get some breaks in those clouds. It's 81 degrees. We've already got a heat index. It feels like 86. So today we're going to have plenty of sunshine, especially in the afternoon. High temperatures right near 96, a heat index of 100 to 105. Thank goodness for that breeze from the south, gusting up to 25 miles per hour. It'll make things feel a little bit more comfortable in the shade. So hot and humid all week, but we do have that welcome breeze. Coming up, the tropics are heating up. We've got potential tropical cyclone 6. I'll be talking about where that's potentially headed coming up in the full forecast. Mark and Steph.
Thank you, Sarah. I like your hot and humid emoji. Very cute.
Thanks, yeah.
And appropriate. Taking a look outside at TransGuide, there's I-10 at Frio. Things are running smoothly right now.
Top stories we're following this morning. A home undergoing renovations is going to need even more attention after a fire tore through the building.
It happened just before 12:30 this morning in the 300 block of Hollywood Avenue. So take a look at the scene. This is north of downtown near San Pedro and Hildebrand. Firefighters say heavy flames were shooting out the front door and the side windows when they got there.
Well, the good news, no one was hurt, but the family of 5 that lives there now are left without a place to be or live. Damage is estimated around $150,000. No word yet on what sparked the fire. San Antonio police left with questions following a deadly shooting on the city's southeast side.
This happened in the 2000 block of East South Cross near I-37, and that's where police say a man in his mid-50s was shot in the face. But somehow he managed to drive to a Dollar General store while on the phone with his wife. Now, police say the man was pronounced dead at the scene once officers got there. Right now, investigators do not know what led up to that shooting. And San Antonio police and Crime Stoppers are asking for your help in solving a murder case. This
happened back on July 1st at a northeast side apartment complex. Take a look at the person on your screen. This is the victim, not a suspect. Police say Raymond Sneed was shot and killed at a home in the Alamo Estates apartment complex in the 8000 block of Mid-Crown. Officers do not have any suspects in custody. At this time, they say a witness saw a woman leaving the scene at the time of the incident.
If you have any information that could help solve this case, you could call Crime Stoppers at 210-224-STOP, and you could be eligible for a $5,000 reward. Students at IDEA Public Schools are kicking off the new school year today in person. And during the pandemic, one teacher on the city's east side used her extra time to foster a love for reading online.
Mrs. Rhonda Brown began her Friday night Facebook Live read alouds, but something was missing, a book that really represented students like hers and the backgrounds they come from.
Alicia Beretta is live there with more on what the instructor accomplished and the significance behind it. Good morning.
Good morning. Well, yes, she couldn't really find a book that really spoke to her, but also her students. So she took matters into her own hands and wrote a book. Actually, she wrote 2. And the cool thing about these books is that the characters inside, well, they really represent her students here in the classroom. There's a girl with autism that's a character in this book. There's also a girl with a skin condition. So what she really hopes with these 2 books is that the children feel seen and powerful.
Our book for tonight is Aunt Flossie's Hats and Crab Cakes.
Rhonda Brown is a first grade teacher at Idea Nasium Academy, and she loves to read.
My aunt raised me, and she gave me the love for reading.
What happened opened on
Her reading strengthened her mind to imagine what some kids or even adults thought was impossible.
I had students saying that they didn't see people that looked like them in the books. And so I was like, oh, okay, so we can fix that.
Her solution, a book about diversity titled Creation, That's Me.
The little girl that has vitiligo, the little girl that has autism, and also there are very dark-skinned black individuals in the book. I am a dark-skinned black lady, and I have a lot of children that come from that background, and they just really had never seen themselves in the book.
The storyline and characters have empowered kids and even adults.
I had an adult reach out to me to say she had never seen herself in a book, and she was 30 years old. She has vitiligo.
The response from readers was so great that Brown wrote a second book.
The second book is Created to Be, Yes, It's Me. You'll see the little kids that are in the first book, they're in the second book, but now they've evolved, they matriculated and went to college and graduated, and so you'll see them in the second book, working in their own professions.
And she's not stopping there. The author is on track to write 2 more books.
My whole philosophy is every child needs to know that they're special. If they never hear it at home, I'm sure they'll hear it in school because that's a part of our philosophy.
Idea Najim Academy is actually so thrilled about the work that Mrs. Brown is doing. Administrators tell me that they're very supportive of this work, that Idea Public Schools really has an emphasis on culture and diversity, so they have allowed for Miss Brown to include these 2 books as part of the curriculum this year. So that's something very exciting for the school, for the students, but of course, Mrs. Brown. So if you're interested in buying any of these 2 books, so the first one again, Creation, That's Me, and Created to Be, Yes, It's Me. We'll have a link for these on KSAT.com. They range from $15 to $20 or $30 for the bundle. Reporting live, Alicia Barrera, KSAT 12 News.
Fantastic. Thank you, Alicia.
Thank you, Alicia. I love how the book started with the kids and followed them through to, through college and high school. That's very cool. Thank you, Alicia.
Right now it's about 10 minutes past the hour and at 80 degrees still ahead on GMSA at 9.
The paper and pencils are probably in your child's backpack, but what about sanitizers and masks? Later, tips from a pediatrician on how you can make sure your child stays healthy this school year.
And after the break, what has this massive crowd scrambling for safety? We have more of that coming up. And don't mess with Dodgers baseball girls. David has those story coming up in your morning headlines.
And welcome back. It's about 9:14 in your morning headlines. Chaos on Bourbon Street over the weekend and incredible video of a tornado in Illinois.
Firefighters once again heroes, and you don't mess with the Dodgers ball girl. David Sears is here with more on that.
Security guards you can mess with. The Dodger ball, no.
Don't mess with her. You can't really get past her.
No, not at all. We'll say that to you in just a second. But first, let's start in New Orleans, Bourbon Street. People just milling around, and all of a sudden, they scatter. Watch them take off. They start running inside buildings. They're ducking for cover. That's because shots were being fired. This is EarthCam video. It's happening at 2 a.m. Sunday morning. The shooter, a 17-year-old male, 5 people injured. They're all expected to survive. The 17-year-old is in custody. This was the second weekend in a row several people were shot in the French Quarter. All right, let's take it to DeKalb County, Illinois. This is just incredible video caught on camera by a driver who's pretty close to a tornado. You can see all the debris floating around. And then you'll see seconds later an incredible funnel cloud. Once again, this happening in Illinois, and actually it gets a lot closer to the driver. Actually, absolutely incredible that the guy's stuck in there so long next to that tornado. This is what the cloud left behind. The house not leveled, but pretty much destroyed, kind of leaning backwards. The shed was destroyed, trees ripped apart. And yes, there was somebody in the house at the time the tornado hit.
I came home and talked to her on the phone and hurried home and saw the cops out front. So it came rushing, I parked in front, and everything's pretty much gone. My wife Melody she was in the basement with dogs.
She's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, once again, Melanie survived, and so did everybody else close by. No reports of any major injuries. Just a lot of destruction and a lot of power outages. And more heroes today. Our heroes are firefighters in California. The river fire is ripping through Nevada County, California. That is northeast of Sacramento. It's leaving everything torched in its path, including some 60 houses. It has burned over 2,600 acres, but at least one house was able to be saved thanks to these brave firefighters. The house covered in red retardant, but it is still standing. The fire came right up to Pam Savage's driveway, but those guys right there were able to hold it off and save her house. And she wants everybody to know just how brave those guys really are.
I just fought through my tears because I wanted to let them know that when they went home, that I wanted them to tell their neighbors, to tell their parents, to tell their wives, to tell their children that they are heroes.
That fire is at about 68% contained. Firefighters should have it completely under control by Friday. And finally, you can run security, but you cannot run from the Dodger ball girl. Check out this video. You can see the guy on the field. Don't know why these people do this, but they do it. And there's the ball girl right there. Watch what happens. Ah, no! Knocks him right into the stands. He flips over the wall right there. Nice job by the ball girl. Security guards chasing him. Ball girl stops it. She's probably a pretty good glove down there on the first base line, too.
Wow.
How about that, huh? How about that?
Good stuff. I was at a
that
restaurant
again.
last night. This
Like
was on
that.
every screen, and everybody's eyes were glued to her.
That's amazing stuff.
Yep.
Don't mess with her.
No, I wouldn't.
Not now, not ever. Thank you, David.
Thanks, David.
Right now, 9:17, about 80 degrees, and we are going to transition back over to your forecast. And Justin has some well-deserved time off this
He does.
week.
Good morning,
He does.
Sarah.
Good morning, and he picked a good time to enjoy some time off. The weather's fairly calm. I know last week he was dealing with quite a bit of rain.
Yes, he was.
But that rain, not only through August, but also through July, has actually allowed us to have a pretty mild summer, guys. So I want to show you some cool, quote-unquote, cool facts. So we have not hit 100 degrees yet in San Antonio this year. 0 100-degree days. The hottest we've been was 97 on August 1st. Let's compare this to last year. Last year, in 2020, we had 36 100-degree days throughout summer. And the hottest we were was on July 13th of last year at 107, the all-time July high temperature. So it's really impressive to see just how much cooler this summer is compared to last summer. But it's still, of course, a little hot outside. Again, the hottest we've been this year, 97, compared to 10 degrees hotter last year in July. Now, outside right now, we are looking at clearing skies. We've got some sunshine out there with some puffy cumulus clouds, 81 degrees. South winds at about 15 miles per hour and a heat index near 86. So we are really going to have a very toasty day here for us, but at least we do have that breeze. Taking a look at the visible satellites, some puffy cumulus for Canyon Lake, New Braunfels, Seguin, Floresville, a little bit more coverage in the cloud cover out across parts of the hill country near Lakey and western Kerr County. But generally, we're going to see plenty of sunshine today. It's 82 already in New Braunfels, 81 in GMSA Randolph, 82 in Castroville, 79 in Hondo, 77 at Bernie Stage Airfield, and 78 in Bulverde. Winds are from the south at about 15 miles per hour. This is going to feel great in the shade. You know, without this breeze, it would be miserably hot outside, so at least we've got that. And looking at the futurecast, it's going to be dry today. Those skies are going to clear. There could be 1 or 2 coastal showers for Victoria up to Houston, but it's going to stay dry here in San Antonio, and we'll be looking at a high temperature in the mid to upper 90s. So definitely a hot day on deck for us. Lower 90s for areas like Kerrville and Rock Springs, triple digits in the books for Del Rio and Laredo. But again, because humidity is high, that 96 is going to feel more like 100 to 105, potentially feeling up to 105 out near Gonzales, out near Del Rio and Laredo. So heat index in our forecast as well, not only today, but for the rest of the week. So looking at today's forecast at noon, it's going to be breezy, 89 degrees, south winds today at 10 to 15, gusting up to 25 miles per hour, mostly sunny skies. And again, this afternoon, a heat index of 100 to 105. Sun will set around 8:20, and as it does so, temperatures should fall into the 80s. So let's take a wider look at the weather pattern, shall we? It's fairly quiet across parts of Texas all the way to the Mississippi River. There is a ridge of high pressure in place. High pressure creates that sinking air, prevents a lot of vertical development and thus preventing rainfall. That high pressure system is going to meander around over the next several days this week. By tomorrow, it'll move a little bit further to the east, so it's still going to be a hot day tomorrow, 96 for the high, partly cloudy, but I do think that there could be a couple of coastal coastal showers, and there is a very low chance, 10%, that one of those could make it to the I-35 corridor. But all in all, a hot day tomorrow. Then, as that high starts to dissipate and pushes more to the west, we're going to see, again, a chance for some coastal showers throughout the remainder of the week. And eventually that high will move out of the way, allowing for northwesterly flow. And so in parts of North Texas, we'll see some thunderstorms develop. Those will produce some outflow boundaries on Sunday and Monday. And that's when we have our best chance for rain in San Antonio. Chance for rain in San Antonio on Sunday and Monday, still only about 30% though. So isolated at the most right now, but we'll update that forecast. In other news, it's likely that Tropical Storm Fred is going to form here within the next few hours or so. And right now, Fred is expected, when it forms, to move across parts of Florida from Saturday through Sunday. We'll keep you informed about that, but if you do have interests in Florida, perhaps a Disney World trip or something like that, just know that this weekend you're going to want to really be paying attention to the weather. Only isolated rain throughout the remainder of the week, very stray shower, and then isolated into Sunday and Monday. It's going to be toasty, temperatures climbing into the upper 90s with heat index values in the triple digits.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hot days ahead. Thanks.
922, 81 degrees.
And still ahead on GMSA at 9 with record COVID cases in Louisiana. A lot of people scrambling to get a vaccine, even some animals. We're going to explain. And welcome back. It's about 9:25. Our neighboring state of Louisiana is leading the nation in negative statistics regarding COVID-19. And that has prompted a massive effort to get more people vaccinated. Even some of Louisiana's four-legged citizens are getting the shot.
Sydney Kern reports from Louisiana State University, where Mike 7, LSU's live tiger mascot, received the final shot of COVID-19 vaccination doses.
Mike is a popular guy on LSU's campus.
He's cool. I don't know. I just really like cats.
Fans are always surrounding his sanctuary just to get a peek at his majestic movements. Turns out he's even sought out on an international level.
I've been with LSU since 2004. Mike 7 is my third tiger. I am still surprised by the things that come up regarding his care.
An animal health group donated the 4-year-old tiger 2 experimental COVID-19 shots, adding the mascot to the list of those now vaccinated.
We understand the importance of vaccines, how they can be very effective for things like the pandemic. And so, yes, we were very excited to participate.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture and the state veterinarian approved of the animal version of the shot.
It is an adjuvant-based killed vaccine that basically immunizes the animals against the spike protein.
Though Mike is the only tiger in his sanctuary, the fear is that his caregivers or those preparing his food could give him the virus.
So we wanted at all costs to make sure that we protected Mike. And so it can come in either on directly with the caretakers or, what we call fomites, which means clothing, shoes, many different things.
Last year, lions and tigers caught the virus at the Bronx Zoo. That's when the university started to exercise more safety measures. This barricade was added to keep people 6 feet away from Mike.
Well, it's really about just keeping him healthy and providing the best possible care that we can for the tiger.
Now that he's fully vaccinated, the fencing is set to come down before football season starts, so fans can continue to get front row action to the fighting tiger again.
Now, Sydney Kern from WBRZ in Baton Rouge reporting.
And we're glad Mike's okay. So there's a lot more ahead on GMSA at 9.
New climate report paints a picture of how poorly humans are taking care of planet Earth. Later in the newscast, a breakdown of the latest information and what it means for you with Sarah Spivey.
And coming up after the break, tips from a pediatrician on how you can make sure your child stays healthy in the classroom this year.
And we are live at North Central Baptist Hospital in Stone Oak to tell you about a big hiring event taking place today. There is a need for medical professionals across our area with, of course, COVID-19 cases surging in the San Antonio area. And we're going to tell you about how some of these positions can get you a $20,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $20,000. We'll talk about all of that stuff right after the break.
As the kids head back to school, we want to make the transition a little easier. We are talking with health experts here in San Antonio. And today our topic is sanitation, things like mask wearing, washing hands, and wiping things down before touching them. So for tips, we turn to Dr. Joe Ferreras from the Children's Hospital of San Antonio. Good morning.
Good morning. How are y'all?
We're great. Thank you. Well, first of all, how can parents help their kids with hand washing and hand sanitizing at home before they go back to school?
Very good question. I've been very impressed that most of my patients actually know what to do. So leveraging on what they already learned from last year is really important. Say, hey, let's review what you learned already last year. This is not going to be dramatically different. And so let's figure out how to do that. One good way to do that is just going with your child in the morning when they're brushing their teeth and washing their hands. And that's a good way to practice. Use more water and less soap. A lot of kids use too much soap and not enough water. The more water, the better.
And what's kind of cool about that, I have a 7-year-old. Sometimes she's actually watching us like, hey, you're not doing that correctly. So I guess it gets to a point after a while. Another question.
Modeling is very important. That is extremely key.
Definitely. Another question, though, for us, what things should kids have in their backpacks to help keep them healthy through flu and COVID season this year?
Good question. It varies a little bit with age group, obviously. With the very youngest, kids might not really know what to do with a small bottle of hand sanitizer, but you want to make sure the hand sanitizer is alcohol-based, not other chemical bases. So most school settings will have the hand sanitizers, but a small bottle of hand sanitizer, if permitted by the school, is okay to carry. Show the kid how to use it. It's not a substitute for hand washing with water. That's always still your best option. Lots of water, a little bit of soap, and spending time in getting in between your fingers. But in lieu of the inability to wash your hands with water, a little dab of hand sanitizer when you can't get to water. So a little bottle of hand sanitizer would be a good idea. Maybe some wipies if they're able to take it, and always the extra mask.
Good advice there. And, at my child's school, this is actually before COVID, they were taught when they wash their hands to sing happy birthday. Are there any other tricks that parents can do at home that can help train the kids on the importance of good hand washing behavior?
That's a really good one. Have the kid pick their favorite song. Make it fun. This should not be a scary thing. This should be something we should be doing for everything, for flu, for stomach viruses. This is just basic sanitation. And so have them pick a happy song that they enjoy that mirrors the ABCs. If that's what they like, that's great. But say, hey, what song would you like to use? Let's use your song. You sing it in your head, and that's what works best.
All right. Great advice for us. Thank you so much, Dr. Joe Ferreras, for joining us today.
Thank you for having us. Keep those hands washed, lots of water, and a little cream afterwards to keep the hands from drying out.
That's true. Thank you.
Take care.
Outside with live cam, already 82 out of San Antonio International. We've got some breaks in the clouds and heating up fast, Sarah.
Yeah, heating up fast. Temperatures are already up by quite a bit from early this morning, and we have the breaks in the clouds to thank for that. It is going to be a toasty and humid day with a high heat index value. Yes, technically we have not yet hit 100 degrees at the airport this summer, but it's going to feel like 100 to 105 today. 81 at the airport with a heat index of 86 degrees. Dew points are in the mid 70s, about as high as they can go. There's already a heat index of 91 in Kennedy and 91 in Pleasanton. It already feels like it's 89 in New Braunfels, so it's going to be a hot day. Thankfully, we have this breeze to help us out a little bit in the shade with winds from the south at about 15 miles per hour. So for today's forecast, expect a toasty day. 96 for the high temperature with temperatures falling back into the 80s after the sun sets at 8:20. We are going to have those breezy winds from the south at 10 to 15, gusting up to 25 miles per hour. Now coming up, we have got a lot to unpack in the forecast, including talking about the IPCC's new climate assessment and, of course, our weather here in San Antonio. Tropics are heating up, and what can we expect over the next 7 days as far as rain goes? Your forecast and that assessment of the climate report coming up soon. Mark and Steph.
Sarah, thank you very much. We have some late-breaking news now coming into our newsroom. The city of San Antonio and Bexar County have today filed a lawsuit challenging Governor Greg Abbott's authority to suspend state laws that give local officials the needed authority to cope with an emergency.
The lawsuit was filed in State District Court in Bexar County and asked for a temporary restraining order to prevent enforcement of the governor's latest emergency order.
More on this story in our later newscast and online at KSAT.com.
And some other news we have: as COVID cases continue to rise in Texas, local hospitals are looking for all the help they can get. Baptist Health System is looking to fill a handful of open positions during their hiring event.
Now get this, there's a $20,000 signing bonus for some positions. RJ Marquez is live at North Central Baptist up in Stone Oak this morning with the details. Good morning, RJ.
Yeah, good morning, Mark and Stephanie. And you guys just mentioned it right there. When you think about our healthcare workers, they really have been heroes throughout this entire process. They've been on the front lines dealing with the pandemic head on. And of course, we are now seeing this recent surge in cases. So there is absolutely a need for more healthcare professionals as we sort of get back into things here with the pandemic. So joining me now is Taryn Huff. She is the Assistant Chief Nursing Officer at North Central Baptist Hospital. Thank you very much for being with us, Taryn. So first of all, let's talk about this hiring event that you guys are hosting here to hopefully bring in more medical professionals, and what positions are available.
Absolutely. Across our system, we're looking to hire all kinds of healthcare professionals from nursing, radiology, laboratory, and respiratory. It's important to get at the bedside and help take care of the patients, and it takes all of the healthcare professionals to care for these patients.
Yeah, and of course, registered nurses, that's a big need here in the San Antonio community. You guys are doing a pretty impressive sign-on bonus. Kind of explain a little bit of the details there.
Absolutely. It's for other professions too, besides registered nurses, but we, depending on your experience level and the shift you're going to be working, we will offer up to $20,000 for you to sign on and work with us today.
Yeah, that is very impressive. So, Taryn, just kind of give us a little bit of your own personal experience. As we've been saying, you guys have really been on the front lines of this for more than a year now, and we are now coming back around. There's another surge of cases. So just kind of explain just how important this has been for the healthcare community and for the San Antonio community in general to have you guys here, and just the need for more of these healthcare professionals.
Absolutely. You know, in addition to the surge and the pandemic of COVID-19, we also continue to deliver babies and take care of emergencies and do surgeries. So it's important that we recruit everybody to come up here. And it's been rewarding to see the resilience healthcare providers have and the compassion they have for people and just passion for their job. It's the time to do this and to get into healthcare.
Yeah, and real quick, we talked a little bit about this recent surge. You're thinking medical professionals saying that this might affect the younger population. So this is more important than ever for people to not only get their vaccinations, but also to get medical professionals here to help out with this surge.
Absolutely. We are seeing the rise, and this is our surge 3 across San Antonio and across our system, and we are seeing it in younger people. Vaccinations are important, and we need the help to expand our services and take care of our community.
All right. Thank you very much, Taryn Huff, for joining us here, the Assistant Chief Nursing Officer at North Central Baptist Hospital here in Stone Oak. So this hiring event, guys, is going to be going till 2 o'clock this afternoon. Again, you could walk in. They're hiring for several different positions. A lot of different things are available, so just go ahead and check it out here at North Central Baptist Hospital up here in the Stone Oak area. Mark and Stephanie?
All right. Thank you, RJ.
Time right now is 9:40, about 82 degrees. You're watching GMSA at 9.
A major report by the United Nations on climate change has a dire warning for humanity. A closer look at what's in the report and who's behind the conclusions it makes.
The first climate change report since 2014 is out. You can probably guess it's not looking good.
Meteorologist Sarah Spivey joins us for a quick breakdown of this latest report. So Sarah, what is this report and who's behind it?
Yeah, Mark and Steph, so this assessment was done by the IPCC. That's the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, which is a body of the United Nations. It is a group of over 200 scientists from more than 60 countries. And these scientists are experts in the fields of climatology, oceanography, meteorology, and all kinds of earth sciences. Now, the IPCC was formed in the late 80s, and this is its 6th climate assessment report.
There's a ton of info in this latest report, Sarah, but what are the overall takeaways here?
Yeah, it's a dense report, but the first thing to know is that the IPCC takes a much more serious tone with this latest report. It states that the rate of warming is much more dire than previously anticipated. We'll be 1.5 degrees Celsius warmer than the pre-industrial levels sooner rather than later, more likely by 2040. And above 1.5 degrees Celsius, above that threshold, major impacts to humankind from climate change are likely, such as sea rise, wildfires, droughts, and intensity of hurricanes. The report states that in the past decade, climate modeling has improved significantly. So confidence in a warming globe is very, very, very high. The good news, though, is that the modeling does show that it is not too late to avoid the massive impacts from climate change. However, unfortunately, it's almost too late. Unless every nation reduces emissions in the next 10 to 20 years, major impacts will be felt. China, the U.S., and India are the world's largest greenhouse gas producers. And here in the United States, we do have plans to reduce emissions, but no policies are actually in place. Additionally, in the report, these scientists unequivocally state that climate change is caused by humans through greenhouse gas emissions, and for these scientists, that data is overwhelming. For the first time, they've also been able to directly link the intensity of single weather events like droughts and heavy rain to climate change. That means that even though those weather events might have happened regardless of climate change, humans have influenced the intensity through greenhouse gas emissions.
And speaking of that human involvement, are there things people can do now that will help reverse climate change, or is it pointless to try?
Well, I mean, Stephanie, it's never pointless to be environmentally friendly. Reusable bags and water bottles, biking, carpooling, and conserving energy all help reduce our individual carbon footprint and thus create a greener world. However, in order for the impacts of climate change to be slowed, policy changes are necessary. And as you know, that process happens slowly. And here in Texas, we need solutions that benefit us economically, as a good portion of our state's economy is based in oil and gas, and we still need oil and gas producers. That's why in the long term, the focus is on creating jobs and policy in renewables while maintaining a balance because of our need of gas and oil.
Well, Sarah, we appreciate you breaking those down into some bite-sized nuggets. We know that was a huge topic to kind of water down into something that's quite talkable.
And we are going to have more information on KSAT.com about this study. First, I do want to show you a graph of the study itself, and then we'll get right into the forecast. So the red line here that you see is the future rise in temperature if no emissions are cut, if nothing changes. The green line here is if we can substantially cut emissions just within the next 5 to 10 to even 15 years. In the green area, that would be an ideal situation, not as many effects from climate change. But of course, if we don't, we could see temperatures rise by 5 degrees Celsius or 9 degrees Fahrenheit. So again, pretty serious information coming from the IPCC. But here in San Antonio, we're going to have a hot day. Temperatures are going to climb into the mid-90s this afternoon with total sunshine, and we'll see winds from the south at 10 to 15, gusting up to 25. That 96 is going to feel more like 100 to 105. Outside right now, you can see the clouds are clearing. We've got more sun. 81 was the temperature at the top of the hour. I bet you that's going to be about 5 degrees warmer when we see the latest thermometer reading at about 10. So again, these cumulus clouds are starting to break up. There's one exception, and that's across parts of the hill country. You can see that it's fairly cloudy in Rock Springs, and it's completely cloudy in Del Rio this morning. Western Kerrville experiencing clouds as well. So when you look at temperatures, Del Rio, which is usually quite a bit warmer than us in San Antonio, same temp, 81 in Del Rio because of that cloud deck there. And these clouds will eventually erode, and Del Rio, you'll have plenty of sun today as well, especially into the afternoon. But it's 83 in Gonzales and 83 in Pleasanton. This afternoon, as I mentioned, the highs will be in the mid-90s, but it's going to feel like 100 to 105 because of the high humidity. Winds are from the south right now at about 15 miles per hour. We're going to continue to see this breeze with gusts up to 25 miles per hour possible today, making it feel not too bad in the shade, but you won't catch me outside at 2 to 6 p.m. this afternoon because it's just going to be hot. All right, in the weather pattern today, we have got a ridge of high pressure right over the Mississippi River Valley, and that's actually going to create a very hot day for areas that don't experience extreme heat all that often. All the way into Iowa, the heat index will be over 100 to 105, 107 heat index in St. Louis, Missouri. Now that high is going to move out of the way a little bit. Tomorrow still there's going to be a hot day with temperatures in the mid-90s. A couple of coastal showers are going to be possible from tomorrow through Friday. And there's an off chance 10% that one or two of those could make it to the I-35 corridor. But your good bet is that it's going to be dry through at least Saturday in San Antonio. As we head into Sunday and Monday, we could see some outflow boundaries develop in North Texas, and that could give us a 30% chance for showers and storms Sunday and Monday. Now let's talk about the potential for Tropical Storm Fred. It's yet to develop. It's still potential Tropical Cyclone 6, but it's expected to become a tropical storm by the end of the day, impacting Haiti and the Dominican Republic Wednesday, making its way close to Cuba by Friday, and then potentially impacting Florida from Saturday morning all the way through the weekend. So if you have interests in Florida, you're going to want to make sure to pay attention to what will become Tropical Storm Fred. For us in San Antonio, the next 7 days, I don't want to say snooze fest, but it's going to be nice and toasty over the next 7 days with a chance for isolated rain Sunday and Monday.
Thank you, Sarah.
Absolutely.
That's good. We love the chance of rain.
9:50, about 82 degrees.
And it's a little hot to have a campfire, but s'mores, that still sounds good, right? 4 ways to make the melty treats for National S'mores Day. That's coming up after the break.
It's a mural that's worth more than a second look. It's 3D. I'm Katrina Weber. That story tomorrow on GMSA.
Now back to some late-breaking news. The city of San Antonio and Bexar County have filed a lawsuit challenging Governor Greg Abbott's authority to suspend state laws.
Those laws give local officials authority during an emergency. So the lawsuit asks for a temporary restraining order to prevent enforcement of the governor's latest emergency order. If this is granted, San Antonio Bexar County Health Authority will immediately issue an order requiring masks in public schools and requiring quarantine if an unvaccinated student is determined to be in close contact with someone who has COVID-19.
This is a big developing story we are continuing to follow. Look for the latest in our later newscast online at KSAT.com. Much more to talk about there. All right, it's summertime, and some of you may be trying to squeeze in one last camping trip before classes begin.
And that's okay, even if it's like, you know, hot outside. You can still try to make s'mores, right?
You can, especially on National S'mores Day, which is set aside on August 10th to recognize this popular campfire treat.
That's right. So, of course, s'mores consist of roasted marshmallows and a chocolate bar. I prefer Hershey's, sandwiched between 2 pieces of graham crackers.
Well, we have 4 ways you can mix things up around the campfire when it comes to your s'mores. The first one, and I know these may be a little controversial, but we're going to say it. First one, try spreading peanut butter on the graham crackers before adding the other ingredients.
Yeah, so Mark and I disagree about that one. I don't really like that. But
Whatever, Stephanie.
Speaking of peanut butter, substitute peanut butter cups in place of the chocolate bar. That's another option.
Actually, that sounds really
good.
Yeah.
The third one, replace the graham crackers with fudge-dipped cookies. So it's chocolate. That's kind of a double win, is it not?
Yeah, I guess your hands get messy either way.
Right?
Oh, that's true.
And the final one is big.
Oh, it's healthy. Yeah, add banana slices.
Banana slices.
It makes it all healthy.
Your s'mores? No?
I don't want my s'mores healthy.
Amen to that.
So you have options. Have a great day.